together, but I can talk to them and we're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
They can at least understand like what kind of ingredients goes into the cake.
Yeah.
So it's really hard when we talk to someone who it's just 4 + 4 = orange.
Right.
And there at this point too, there are some of those people that okay, it would be money, but I can't help you.
Sure.
Because you don't know what it is. You don't even know what the net effect is. So that still exists, but I can definitely say that more often than not, a lot of these people do have an understanding of what's going on. And like, if you think for a second that these stars that we all look up to don't have a pretty good understanding of what their business is, you're out of your mind.
Right.
They do. Like, I know if you guys are touring all over the world and a completely viable entity, I'm pretty sure you guys know what your net profit is and what it takes to do these shows and, the various factors that are involved that can turn something that's awesome into a nonprofit, and I know these things at this point. We can get offered a tour and there's a bunch of numbers on the top that don't make any sense.
Right.
I can literally look at it for a second and go, okay, we'll make this much money approximately. Don't worry about this. I already know, like the spreadsheet just goes in my head because I've done the spreadsheet 400 times.
Right.
And so, you just cannot stop being hungry and learning.
That's smart. You're not being complacent, because there are a lot of artists and business owners really that do get in the sort of situation where they rest on their laurels. They expect that it's always going to work the same way that it did 30 years ago, which it doesn't. The technology and the way that the industry works, the way that fan bases will support you is different now than it was 2 years ago. Even, between COVID and now, it's vastly different. You see it a lot in touring bands. You see it a lot online. So aside from music, you mentioned, you make enough essentially in music that it's enough of a living to not only survive, but do well. But you've got other entities besides the restaurant too, right? So you want to talk about business you're just getting off the ground?
Yeah. Well, our label services company framework is something that's largely turned into kind of an all around sort of independent music business services company. And largely lately, the marketing side has become really busy. I came off this last tour with Powerman 5000, which, by the way, love you guys. Thank you so much. Sold out many dates. I bought all the marketing for that tour. And I buy the marketing for a lot of bands.
Is this the Spider? Does Spider still have the same hair?
Yeah.
All right.
He does. Yeah. And it's funny being a hairdresser and I talk to him about what he does.
Yeah.
I cringe and he's like, I know hairdressers always can't believe that I do what I do and how I pull it off. He's super awesome. So I basically have by buying the ads for our touring, it's turned into, after they do really well, it's turned into the bands that we tour with hiring me to buy the ads for their touring, which leads to their agents coming to me to buy the ads for their other bands because all of it turns out well. It turns out that there is a very technical way to do this stuff, and it isn't super easy. And it does not involve boosting posts and all. You have to actually go into the professional side of Meta and buy in a very complicated way and create landing pages for every show and put the pixel in and do all this like complicated programming shit. But, I sort of relentlessly forced myself to kind of learn this because it pissed me off that I didn't understand it. And it pissed me off that I hired people to do it and still didn't get results. So I was like, well, I better learn this language. So that's yet another thing that we've learned how to offer artists. And so now, since I got back from that tour, I have literally, I write a song probably every night and all day long, like a job. I've been buying marketing for bands, singles, for tours, for just whatever it is, Shopify stores, like all that kind of stuff. And funny enough, every single thing I'm doing is exactly what I'm doing for my band. So I can turn back around and be like, well, hey, look, this is what we did. Let's not worry about what this other big band that I'm working on did, by the way, is better than what we did because they're bigger or whatever. Let's just say, look, I can tell you my numbers. We changed our web store from a normal web store, like a Wix site, whatever, with shopping built in and everything, to a Shopify store for specific reasons, because it's meta integration and it's frictionless execution. And so there are a lot of different ways of purchasing in app, like in Instagram, in everything that Shopify connects to. And I was like, I want that. Yeah. I want to be able to, so I want to function like the brands that I like. It doesn't matter that I'm in a band. I don't give a fuck. I want to function like that. So we did that. We sold, I mean, I think we've been live 40 days in a very simple store, but complicated stuff going on in the marketing. And we did like 9,000 something in